Hello, this is D, and I'm back with another video. And today we're going to take a look at the PlayStation Portal and see if this device is any good. Now, there's been a lot of reports out there that device is not running good. It's really choppy out there in the wild, that you can only use it in your house, that you can't use it away from the house. So today I decided just to really take this through its paces. So in today's video, it's going to be a lot of testing the PlayStation Portal in different environments. I tested in my house, on my Wi-Fi network. I tested at my office on the Wi-Fi network, as well as my LTE. So that is far away from home. So we should get a real world use scenario with this, because yes, it's nice to use it in your house. And sometimes, the relatives or your kids, whatever, they're taking over your TV and you can't play the favorite game that you want. However, how does this device perform on the road? How does it perform in a house that is not your own, where your PlayStation 5 is not located in? And today we're going to answer those questions. So without further ado, I'm just going to get into some of the testing that I did today. It's all put together. This is a different type of video, but I wanted to give you guys a real world testing experience with this. I wanted you to see how it actually performs in the wild instead of just telling you guys. So you're going to see for yourself. You're going to be able to see in real time as I hold the PlayStation Portal up to my TV and hit the inputs. You're going to be able to see how much latency there actually is. Now, I'm also going to test it in the office away from my PlayStation 5. So surely we should have some issues if there are problems with the PlayStation Portal when we're using it far away from our home, not on the same network as our PlayStation 5. So without further ado, we're just going to get into the testing here. I'm going to come back at the end, kind of give you a summary and give you my final thoughts on the PlayStation 5 Portal.
All right, so we're going to test this out to see if there's any type of latency, because I see a lot of people reporting that it's just a stuttery, jittery mess. Now, to be fair, I have really fast internet. I have 1 GBs up and down, so it's extremely fast. I'm on a 5 gigahertz network right now. I think I'm using Wi-Fi 5. I don't think this even supports Wi-Fi 6. I'm not sure, but nonetheless, it's really good connection. So as you can see, hopefully this comes across on the video. It's pretty much 1-to-1, man. You can see it for yourself here. Image quality is good. So let's just go into Spider-Man. Bam.
We did it. We survived the impossible. Drove back a friggin' alien invasion.
Now, of course, there is a tiny bit of latency because it's not going to be just straight like that, but it's really imperceivable. You don't really notice it because you're looking at the screen a little bit and you might notice it, but for all intents and purposes, the latency is really good, man. It's almost pretty much 1-to-1. Like if I were to pause it, if I had to guess, I'd maybe 23 milliseconds of lag, which is like nothing really for what we're getting here. I'm not getting any type of image breakup.
I've been thinking a lot about what's really important. Nothing will make you rethink your life like a citywide alien invasion, right? Relatable. And I realized how important the truth is. I started a podcast called The New Normal. I don't know where New York is headed, but I'm looking forward to finding out. With all of you out there, I want to be honest and report
I don't know what to tell you guys. So far on my testing, it's working really good. I'm not having any type of dropouts. If it does drop out and I lose connection, I will report it. But as of right now, I'm not having any issues. Okay, we're in the office. We're on the PS Portal. We're doing this over LTE. So I'm using my phone as a hotspot, and we're gonna see how good this runs. So as you can see, let me see if you can see my fingers here. So there you go. It's pretty good. Let's just click into it. Once again, this is in the office. I'm using LTE. I'm not even using the Wi-Fi that's in the office. I'm using my mobile LTE. I'm on the 5 gigahertz network. You can't really use 2.4 gigahertz. It's just not good, even in my own house. So right now, I would recommend you using 5 gigs. So, or the 5 gigahertz network on your Wi-Fi. The image quality is great. It's not breaking up. You guys can see the frame rate's pretty good. This is over my LTE. Okay. This is in the office. I'm away from home. I'm far away from home. Once again, I want to reiterate that I'm using this on my LTE. I'm not in my house. I'm at the office. And the image quality is pretty good. And the latency is pretty good. Now, is it perfect? No. There's a tiny bit of lag. But in a game like this, it's not going to matter. Now, if you're playing like Call of Duty, then I would say absolutely it would matter because your kills are not going to be so accurate. But for a game like this, I don't think it's bad at all. So that's pretty good. This is over LTE. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to pause the recording and I'm going to switch it over to the regular Wi-Fi that we have in the office to see if we get the same or better performance. Okay, so I rebooted it so you guys can see what we're connected to. Let's go over to the network. Internet connection is connected. Set up internet. So as you can see, Galaxy S8D. This is actually an S23 Ultra, but I just haven't changed the name of the hotspot. But nonetheless, you can see that it was connected to my phone the whole time. Just to show you guys in real time, because I know some of you guys will be like, no, it's not connected. It was connected to my actual LTE. So what we're going to do now is we're going to connect it. So these are like my home networks. So we're going to set it to the networks that are found in my office here. I'm probably going to have to blur some of this stuff out. Yeah. So we're going to connect to, we're going to connect to this one, which is a 5 gigahertz. I'm going to have to pause it, put my password in, and I'll show you that it's connected afterwards. Okay, so now we're connected to the internet. As you can see, I'm now off of my mobile hotspot. We're using the guest in my office here. And we're going to go back and we're going to connect. And let's see if we get better performance than when we did on LTE. Now, I thought that the LTE performance was relatively good, especially considering I'm so far away from my PlayStation because I'm in the office. I'm nowhere near my house. But I am seeing that it takes maybe about, looks like maybe anywhere from 30 seconds to a minute to connect to your PlayStation when you're not at home. All right, so we're going to resume. And I will say the haptic feedback is pretty cool on this. So it's performing pretty good, to be honest with you. You know, if you're expected to get like native performance on this, you know, compared to your PlayStation 5, like that's not going to happen, obviously, right? But the performance is pretty good. So you're seeing, so right there we had a little bit of internet breakup, so we saw that there, but it's still pretty much holding it. Now the internet in the office, it should be better, but actually when I remember, it's not the highest speed, actually. My cell phone probably does a higher speed. In this area where my office is, we don't have like the best internet that's available, but it's still working. Getting a little bit of breakup right here. So even when it's breaking up a bit, you know, let me so you can see my hands. Even when it's breaking up the internet service, you're still getting really good performance. Honestly, I don't mind to play Spider-Man like this away from my house. Honestly, this is pretty good. Okay, so that right there is performance on my office internet. Okay, we're in the car. We're going to try the PlayStation Portal. This is another real-world test, and this is where the device functionality really comes into play. Now, some may say, why do you need a PS Portal? Well, it's for moments like this. When you're in the car and you want to fire up your PlayStation 5 games, you can play it on the go with this. Now, of course, there's the Steam Deck. There's also a Rogue Ally. And those, although they can do PlayStation streaming, it's not the same, because on the Rogue Ally, at least, you need to hook up your PlayStation 5 DualSense controller, which makes everything more cumbersome, because now you have to bring your controller along, where this device has everything built into it. It's not like Xbox Cloud, where you can just use the built-in controllers that are on a Steam Deck or on the Rogue Ally. The PlayStation 5 Remote Play, you actually have to use a PlayStation controller, unless you're using a phone, and of course buy one of those attachments like a Rikishi or the other one. I forget the name of it right now. So we're going to just do a real world test here, and it shut off, which is awesome. Now, as I'm recording here, it did actually shut off. So if you don't connect right away, it will shut down. Let's get the power on this. Sorry, guys. Okay, there we go.
Dad?
Now, one thing that I do notice about the PS Portal is that when you're away from home and you're connecting to your actual PlayStation, it does take a little bit of time to connect, usually about a minute. So I'd like to see them improve that with maybe a firmware update. Also, like I said previously, I have my PlayStation 5 in wireless mode. So if I had it wired, perhaps I would get better connection, or at least it would be a lot quicker connecting to my PlayStation 5. So as you can see, it's up here. We're on my LTE on my cell phone. All right, I want you guys to see my hands as I do everything here. Oops, sorry, wrong hand. So that is pretty good. Okay, we're not in the house. We're in the car. As you can see, we're in the car, and it's responsive. And the image quality, if you can see that there, let's see if we can focus in on it. Image quality is really good. It's not breaking up. We're going to fire up Spider-Man once again. There we go. We got Spider-Man. All right, there we go. You guys see my hand? Very responsive.
Bob.
Sorry for the bad gameplay. It's kind of hard while I'm recording this to get really good gameplay. But I want you guys to see my hand so you can see the lag and you can make your assessments. Now, once again, this is in the car. This is on my LTE on my phone, so my mobile hotspot. And we're getting pretty good performance. Like, is it perfect? It's not perfect for sure, but it's really good. And I think this is a treat for PlayStation 5 owners, being able to play their games on the go with such a device. It's got a very big screen, and I will say the color on the screen is so good.
Now, as I was going over my edited footage, I forgot to mention the battery life on the PlayStation Portal. Now, Sony is infamously bad for having horrible battery life on their devices, especially their controllers. They die so quickly. But this device, I actually got about 5, almost 6 hours of usage before I had to charge it. And I think that's pretty good, seeing how much this device is actually doing. You know, you got the haptic controller, which is also a great addition to the PlayStation Portal. You got that big, vibrant screen. And I think 5 to 6 hours battery life is pretty good for this, because let's just be honest, when you're on the go, you're not going to be using this for 5 hours at a time. I think on average, most people are going to use this anywhere from 3 to 4 hours. So the fact that it has about 5 hours on average, I would say maximum 6 hours battery life, is quite good for this device. So overall, I gotta say this device is a really good device, especially if you own a PlayStation 5. You can use it outside of your house on a mobile network such as your LTE. You can use it on a Wi-Fi system. I don't know what more you could ask for out of this device, enabling you to play your PlayStation 5 games, which leads to the argument that many are saying, why would you need this? Now, my Rogue Ally, I'm not getting 5 to 6 hours out of that device. A Steam Deck, you're not getting 5 to 6 hours out of that device. My Rogue Ally, on average, I would say I'd get maybe tops 2 hours. A Steam Deck, maybe you're getting 2 hours and a half. This device is giving you 6 hours, and you have access to all of your PlayStation games. That's the difference. Yes, you could do it on a ROG Ally like we mentioned, or a Steam Deck, but you have to use your PlayStation 5 DualSense. Yes, you can use it on a PC with a big screen, but then you're carrying that laptop around. And you have to bring your headphones, you have to bring your controller. It's just not as convenient as a PlayStation Portal. So for $200, I would argue that if you own a PlayStation 5 and you want to play your games remotely, this is probably the way to go. On your cell phone, you're not going to have the same experience because the screen is just a lot smaller. Yes, it's pretty good. It's decent enough, but it's not as good as the PlayStation Portal. Yes, you may connect a little bit faster using your mobile device, but once again, it's not as comfortable as the PlayStation Portal. The screen is not as big as the PlayStation's Portal. You do not have the haptic controller that is found on the PlayStation 5 on your mobile controller. So there is a user case scenario for this device. If you want to play your PlayStation 5 games away from the house, this is simply the device for you. You don't have to play it in your house, which is a misconception that is going around that this device only works in your home. I have proved in this video that it works away from your home and that it works exceptionally well. Now, once again, you're going to need a great internet connection. If you don't have a good internet connection, this is not the device for you right now until at least they fix the performance on the 2.4 gigahertz. So that pretty much wraps it up on my thoughts on this device. If I had to give it a review, I would say I give it a 7 out of 10. It's not a perfect device. There are certain things that I wish that it did. For instance, your streaming apps that are on your PlayStation 5, you're not able to use them on your PlayStation Portal. It doesn't come with Bluetooth. You have to get the proprietary headphones that Sony is offering. The cable management, or I should say the cable placement, is poor. The cable placement is at the back of the portal. It's kind of hard to get to it. Like, I don't want to over exaggerate it. It's just inconvenient. I just don't like the placement of it. As well, you cannot stream PlayStation games to it, which is unbelievable. That's such an oversight. The PlayStation Cloud games should be able to be played on this device, and I'm hoping that in a future update that they do enable this. So because it doesn't work well on a 2.4 gigahertz network, because it doesn't have native Bluetooth support, because you cannot play your PlayStation Cloud games on it, I can't give it a perfect score of a 10. I see some people out there scoring it a 10, a 9, an 8. It's not quite there yet. It needs a few updates, but it is a great device and it works as intended. If you want to play your PlayStation 5 games away from home, this definitely does. It has great battery life. It has great sound. It has a fantastic screen, but it needs a little bit more refinement. And I think in time, it will be a much better device as they update this through firmware updates, allowing some of the things that I mentioned that are not there at launch. So right now, in its current state, I have to give this device a 7 out of 10. Yes, it is a great device, and I think this is just for the PlayStation fans. This obviously isn't for a casual gamer. This is for someone that owns a PlayStation 5 and wants to play their games away from home. This is who this device is designed for. Anyways, I want to know what you guys think about all of this. Are you impressed with the performance of the PlayStation Portal, or do you think you're just better off having a Steam Deck or a Rogue Ally, or even your cell phone to play your remote PlayStation games? Let me know in the comment section down below. And like I usually say, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you guys on the next one.